I'm so excited for today. Oh, the simple pleasures in life. I'm so excited because I'm going to do some gardening today, and I haven't done any gardening since end of July, that last week of July. Obviously I've been here to water, I've been here to harvest, both the veggies, calendula, things like that, but I haven't kind of, haven't planted anything, haven't had my hands in the dirt. And so I've got a mega long list of jobs to do today. I reckon I've got about 12 hours worth of jobs. There's no way I'm going to get it all done today, that's impossible. I reckon maybe half the list, about 6 hours, plus all my little sit downs, that'll be about 8-9 hours. Bring it on. So today, you're not going to see the video today, today. It's the day after we had all that lovely soft drizzle. Oh dear, why is everyone hissing? Yeah, I don't think it's done much by way of sort of penetrating the soil. What it is doing this morning is it's making the garden feel like a sauna, because I thought I'd grab my thermometer, make it easier than reaching. We're mid-20s, which is about 80 Fahrenheit. That moisture that's in the ground is now coming up, so yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a day of, please ignore my sweat moustache that I'm bound to develop. Right, okay, loads to do. There will be a sequence to the jobs, partly because I need to do one thing before I do another. Also, I'm going to try and break the jobs up between really physical, slightly less physical. One of the things I do want to do today is, when I showed you that rain video, what are you hissing? Who are you? Oh no, it's that. Oh, it's gone now. There's an evil cat. I should not give it human qualities, but no, there's a cat. It lives way down there, and it's a bit mean. Anyway, yes, when I was filming in the drizzle the other day, and I was making a note that how so many leaves have fallen already, way too early. As soon as I saw the leaves on the floor, I thought, start raking, start gathering now, because last year oh my goodness, these cats. Last year the leaves seemed to fall really late, and I just didn't get enough in time for covering my beds. So literally as soon as I saw them, I clocked it and I thought, yes, that's a job to do today. And it's so funny because then when I put that video out, comments, messages, rake those leaves up. Yes, I am going to. That's one of my jobs for today. So yeah, I'm going to be alternating between slightly more physical, slightly less physical. I've been doing my physio all week. Great stuff. Oh, thank you, lovely. Hang on a sec. I love this place. That's a neighbour dropping something off for me, some storage jars. Brilliant. They're having a bit of a sort out of their cellar. So obviously I'm getting all the unwanted bits. Brilliant. Yeah, what was saying? Oh yeah, so I've been doing my physio all week, which is great. I haven't done it today because already today I've been up and down my stairs 3 times. Now my stairs, in a modern house, it would be the equivalent of 4 flights of stairs. So doing it 3 times, imagine going up and down your stairs if you live in a modern house. Go from your living room up to your bedroom 12 times. So that's been a good workout for my knees this morning. And then hopefully this time in the garden, I'll be using all sorts of other different muscles that I don't use when I'm doing my physio. But I'll still be working my knees, but in a different way to when I do my physio. So hopefully it'll loosen me up a bit, because I do feel a little bit stiff from all this physio this week, despite doing my stretches. Anyway, right, let's start. I'm going to start, I don't need to show you because it's huffy puffy, where I took out the new potatoes. I'm going to fork through that soil again to find any that I missed. Yesterday in the drizzle I scattered chicken poo pellets, so they should have dissolved a bit, so as I'm forking through they'll be incorporated. Once I've had that fork through, oh here comes another cat. Once I've had that fork through, then I will be able to plant in there some very weedy, pathetic looking purple sprouting broccoli. When I get to that, I'll show you. For now, roll your sleeves up, get your fork out, get stuck into some soil. I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed. I should perhaps have anticipated this disappointment. At least I've got some nicer jobs to come which should be more fulfilling. So the reason I'm disappointed is twofold. This is the new potato bed. I just tried forking through it again. I did get another little handful of spuds out. Yay! That rain, we had that, it was drizzle for, 12-14 hours yesterday. It's done nothing. The ground is bone dry. The chicken pellets, I scattered chicken pellets at about 12 o'clock yesterday, so they had 8, 9, 10 hours of drizzle on them afterwards. They're still like complete dry little pellets, no kind of dissolving at all. This bed is a combination of dust and rubble, it feels like. You know, I've got either these great lumps of clay or dust, despite all the organic matter that's been added over the years. So yeah, I'm disappointed that the rain has done nothing, and as I was starting in here I was quite shocked by just how dry, so I started to have a bit of a look around the garden, and you can probably see behind me the whole garden is starting to die. I mean, it's dying. It looks like all these leaves that are yellowing and dropping. Literally everywhere I look, the garden is turning yellow. The garden looks today like it normally would at the beginning of October. There's no two ways about it. This year has been tough in so many ways, but all the other tough things aside, to chuck in drought and scorching heat on top, it's just, it's too much. However, I am getting fed from it, so there are reasons to be cheerful, and like I said, I'm going to do some other things this afternoon, or this morning and afternoon, which will make me a bit happier. The other reason I'm kind of feeling all this despondency suddenly is because my brassicas have been rubbish this year, absolute rubbish. So this is going to be the purple sprouting broccoli bed. Fortunately, I've got these 8 little plug plants that Paul brought over for my birthday. He brought them in, that's about sort of 7 or 8 weeks ago. Ideally, these would have gone in at the end of July when I had the spuds out, but the heat wave happened. So I've got those from Paul, and then, I don't know if you can see them, in the wheelbarrow I've got a motley crew of my own that I did manage to raise and prick out, but they look awful. So look, the plan is this, because I can feel myself becoming really deflated, and I don't want to, because I've been looking forward to today. The ground is bone dry. I'm going to get so with the chicken pellets, where I've forked the bed again for potatoes, they've been forked in. They're still whole, but what I'll do is I'll get everything planted, and then I'm going to really, really, really soak this bed, give them all a really good soaking. Then I'm going to mulch. So I've got 1 bag of compost that will barely mulch a square metre. This bed is this whole bed is my widest bed, so it's a little over, it's about 4 metres. So I've got that compost. Then we're going to go and have some fun with the hugelkulture. That will come over here as mulch too. Then I'm going to look in my compost bin and see what on earth I've got in there, and I'm just going to chuck the kitchen sink at it all. Oh dear. The one thing with gardening, well, there's lots of things with gardening, but you have to just be prepared for disappointments, because there are always going to be disappointments. Preferably not so many in one year, but you know, it's just how it is. So this is this new, the sun's playing tricks with us today. Let me show you closer. This is the little module that Paul has given me, and I get to keep the module tray. Yay! So you can see it's formed really lovely little roots, and that's popped out really, really easily. So there's no disturbance to those roots. Great. So I better shut up and get planting. The main thing, as with all brassicas, is they need to be in there really, really firm. So in it goes into the dust, and then firm it in. Really firm. Then once you think it's really, really firm, come back, firm it again. You know, with the heel of your shoe, something like that. Sometimes people ask me why I don't pour water into the hole before I plant. Because of this dust, it's basically clay dust. If I pour a load of water in that hole, it just becomes this kind of clay soup. It's really difficult to manage. So it's actually much easier to just plant and then come along later on and water. Much easier. Right, let's get on with this. Put this disappointment behind us and then go and play with the hugelkulture. Wow. It was not forecast to be quite so sunny, quite so hot today. Right, those purple sprouting broccoli, sad examples therein. I've given them all a really, really good soak in. I've got that one bag of compost on, great. That's covered, it's actually less than a square metre. So, I'm going to nick the contents of my mini hugelkulture. Two reasons. Well, the main reason is because I want to plant this beautiful blueberry in this pot, but blueberries, they're an acid loving plant, they need ericaceous compost. So thank you, Nicholas, I finally got some ericaceous compost. Oh, hello Poppy, you tickled my bottom with your tail. So I don't know, I've brought down about half of the compost. That's all I can manage in one go in my granny trolley. I don't know if it's going to be enough to fill it. We'll see how we go. But never mind that. The little hugelkulture, I'm really interested to see what's in the bottom of it. So I'm going to pop the blueberry there a second. Oh, that pot feels really light. On the top, it looks like the soil is good and wet, but from the lightness, I can tell that's bone dry too. Okay, so the story with the hugelkulture. Let's get that stick out of the way. The achocha that didn't make it. I made these up, both of them, about 18 months ago. We were coming into the spring in 2019. I wanted a little bit more growing space. I was desperate for a bit more growing space. I'd scavenged these pots ages ago. They're big, big pots. They must hold, I reckon 30 litres, maybe a bit more even. Anyway, they're massive pots. I scavenged them donkeys years ago. I just had them knocking around behind the shed, what have you. I knew I'd use them one day, so last year I wanted to use them. But they're a big pot to fill. If you just, that would take basically a whole bag of compost. It would take like maybe 10 quid's worth of compost. And I didn't have enough compost at the time, and I didn't really have the money to be buying more. So I suddenly had a little miniature brainwave. That's my little mini brainwave. I had a load of yeah, it must have been, it was either the end of February, beginning of March. I had a load of really chunky brassica stalks from all the brassicas that had gone over by that stage, so broccoli, mainly broccoli. So I had all these, oh, that breeze is beautiful, but is it playing silly whatsits with the sound? Anyway, so I had all those, and then where I'd taken the flint corn out at the end of, beginning of November 2018, all the foliage of the flint corn I chop up, goes in the compost, but I'm still left with quite chunky stalks. So I suddenly thought, why not do a hugelkulture type thing? I also had a few bits of sticks from where I'd been raking up leaves, and as I go through them to trim them, to just chop them down a bit, there were some biggish twigs. So into the bottom I put the twigs, maybe an inch layer. Then on top of those I did maybe 2 inches of brassica stalks, slightly chopped up, maybe chopped into sort of 3-4 inch lengths. Then on top of those I put again 3 or 4 inch lengths chopped up flint corn stalks. So actually the bottom of these pots, there may be, I'm trying to think, there may be a foot and a bit deep, maybe 16, 17 inches deep. So the first 6 inches was all that really chunky material. Then I did sort of 2 layers of compost. The bottom layer was, I think it might have been communal compost, I'm not sure, can't remember now. But in with that, I had a lot of the dry flint corn leaves, which I chopped up. So I sort of mixed those two together. I was thinking about drainage as well at that stage. That went in. And then the last maybe 5 or 6 inches of compost was just pure, brand new compost into the top. What is that? Oh, it sounds like someone's having one of their molars drilled. Ugh. So it's been like this for 18 months. The level has gone down, so there's obviously been some decomposition going on in the bottom. I've been intrigued to know what it looks like down there for ages, and because as I say, I want to put the blueberry in there, it seems like the perfect opportunity to tip this out and see what happened in the bottom, because the other one of these at the other end of the deck, it's looking very pathetic because everything's so dry. But that one I'm not going to tip out, I'm just going to simply add more compost to the top each year. So I'm going to back you up a bit, give you a shot. I'm going to do it into the wheelbarrow, and yeah, let's oh, ants, no, I don't want you on me. Let's discover together what happened to the little mini hugelkulture experiment of early 2019. Brace yourselves, this is definitely going to be a huffy puffy moment, because I've just huffed and puffed to lift it onto here. But let's see if we can get it tipped out in one go, as it were. Oh my goodness, there's an ant nest underneath it. That's why all the ants have appeared. Oh, how am I going to do this? Oh, well, that felt... Oh, get the ants off. That felt really solid. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, ant stings. Right. Oh my goodness, look at all the ants. Can you see from there all the ants in it? I don't really want to... I'm going to get a trowel to poke this with, because I don't want to just put my bare hands in there with so many ants scurrying around. Okay, I'll just try to get you in a bit closer. Wow, ants scurrying. So, okay, you can see the little twiggy bits. As one might expect, they haven't really done anything in terms of decomposing. Oh my goodness, mega ants. But as I go in, I'm not really seeing any brassica stalks. They look like they've all gone. Yeah, so it looks like all the organic matter apart from the twigs, it looks like it's all gone. So that's the brassica stalks, flint corn stalks, etc. I don't know how I've ended up with so much grit in here. Whatever that is wanting to grow. Might be the St John's wort. I'll have that out. If you remember, I put the St John's wort in here temporarily and then decided, yeah, I didn't want it. So, well, there we go. It all rotted apart from the twigs. So what I'm going to go and do with this now, I'll have a little sift through for any, I think that's the St John's wort roots. Have a sift through for that, and then otherwise this can now all be put on top of the purple sprouting broccoli bed to act as a bit of mulch. But in terms of quantity for doing that with, there's hardly any here. I'm definitely going to have to go into my compost bin, which I didn't want to do today because that's always hot work, but needs must. Oh, look, beautiful. Come here, sorry sweetheart. Beautiful big fat wriggler. Oh, let's put you back down there in the dark and damp. Oh, and another one there. Good, good. Right, let's crack on and sift. It's getting hotter by the minute. Hotter and more humid. Go on, Bennett. Right, I haven't done the compost bin yet. I want to do a nice job first, so I think I'm going to do a nice job, and then I think I'm probably going to go and sit in the shade for 15 minutes because it is getting really hot. So, almost filled with compost, space for the plant. Let's see. Oh my goodness, yeah, bone dry. Oh, look at that, that's crazy. Maybe a little bit higher up. I might not have enough. No, I'm not going to have enough compost to backfill all this. But it's in my compost bin lid. It's a start. The other half a bag is still at home. I'll bring it tomorrow or on my next visit. But to be honest, I think, seeing how dry everything is today, despite, all of that drizzle, I think I'm going to be back to daily watering. Hopefully, though, in my water butt, if you saw that video the other day when the drizzle day and I was sitting in the shed, I could hear lots of plops of rain on the roof, so they will have gone into the water butt. So great, I can probably do with giving this a whole can today and its friend, and then obviously water the whole garden again before I go today. I'm dripping with sweat. Right, water the plant, water the gardener, a little bit of shade for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to start in on that compost bin. Crikey. This is not what I was expecting today. Oh, yeah. I just checked my thermometer. We're coming up for noon. It says 28. That's 80. That's a lovely summer's day, isn't it? If you're sitting around having a pina colada or a glass of Pimm's. Not for doing hard yakka. There's some really nice semi-rotted compost in here. I'll give you a closer look in a minute. I've been precious this year about looking after my compost. turning it. So there was a bit of drier stuff in the top. I've just put it in the big Dalek. I've been keeping it watered, I've been keeping it, moist, not wet, moist. And yeah, I think there's going to be some good material in here for mulching. Bye, heck. I tell you what, grotty job, hot and sweaty. I'll finish this, then I'll take you over to the purple sprouting and show you what this batch of compost looks like. This batch was started in, breeze, hang on a second. It was started at the end of the first week of May when I was waiting for the compost delivery, and I sat for 3 or 4 hours chopping all my spent brassicas. So May to June till July, so it's nearly 3 months old. 2 months, 3 weeks old, this compost. Anyway, let me shovel and then I'll show. Shovel then show. Gorgeous dark brown stuff. I tell you what, this wasn't what I had planned. Well, I hope it's clear on screen. Oh, lots of worms in there too. This has obviously really started to break down quite a lot. So on it goes. Just going to spread it as a mulch. But of course, hopefully, it will encourage worm activity. They'll take it down. It's hopefully going to do a couple of jobs. Protect the soil from this heat, this dryness. So as I mentioned, I've given them all a really good soak. So hopefully this is going to help to lock in that moisture. It's going to carry on decomposing, and like I say, hopefully it'll encourage worm activity. They'll take some of it down, which will mean, again, hopefully when we get to spring 2021 and I clear this bed of the purple sprouting, hopefully it will be a little bit easier to plant up. Oh, can't remember what that is, but it's definitely not decomposed. What will go here next year? It'll be the celery and fennel. So yeah, they will love this organic matter because it will hopefully be good at retaining water. Phew! I'm actually quite pleased with what I've got out of the bin today, based on previous years when I've ended up with really, really, really dry stuff that's kind of good for nothing. It's just been one of those things where I've been mindful, just remember to keep turning, keep adding my browns and greens together, keep it moist, etc, etc. So yes, it's definitely better compost at this stage this year than it was at this stage last year. Yuck, I'm pooped. Right, other side. Oh, goodness me. Right, they're in, they're mulched. It's really quite a thick mulch where it's my own compost. It's a good 4, in places probably 5 inches deep. But you can see if you look, there's my path. But this isn't path, this is actually the earthing of the spuds. You can see just how bone dry it all is. So, great, good job done. I may soak them all again. And then the last job is get the nets on, which will keep the cabbage white butterflies out and hopefully also slow down the evaporation of the water. Red of face, dripping of sweat. That was a much tougher morning session than I was planning for. Couple of things. The temperature This is not what was forecast. We were forecast, I think, 21 for today, which would have been perfect and pleasant. The thermometer says it's just nudging 30. This is not supposed to be happening today. Honestly, I think I do have a little bit of a microclimate here. You know, so many people are saying, oh, I'm so glad you've had loads of rain because I've seen other people having rain. It's like, no, I haven't. Literally 2 miles away can get a big dumping of rain and we get nothing here. So yeah, a little funny microclimate here where we seem to be quite a bit warmer than other places, definitely drier. So yeah, it's been a tough morning. I wasn't expecting the heat and humidity. It's been a tough morning because that rain yesterday did nothing in terms of helping with the ground. If this was a hobby garden, if I just did this, oh, pleasure, oh look, I've got a handful of potatoes each year, I would have probably given up and gone home by now. But it's not a hobby garden, it's my food. And you know what, that's always the best incentive, isn't it? Is get things in, because if I don't, what am I going to eat in the winter? So, it's slightly grotty morning in terms of hard work. But I'm so glad to get those little babies in the ground, because as you will have seen from, was it the August tour? Sorry, I'm absolutely dripping again. I think from the August tour you've seen those little teeny tiny scraps of Cavolo that I planted maybe 10 days before had really started to come along. And by now you will have seen my mid-August update where they're looking really good. They're getting there. There were about 3 that have been really badly nibbled. Well, 2 of them have come back already, which is great. So yes, what I've planted today, they look a little bit scrappy and sad. Excuse me, I've got to have water. Oh, I've got a temptation like Tour de France to tip it over my head. Tour de France is coming back. Yes, they look like scrappy scraps of things today. But also, it's just like with my tomatoes when they go in, look how pathetic they look. The point is, if I don't put it in the ground, there's no chance it's going to grow. If you don't take the seed out of the packet and put it in some dirt, it ain't going to grow. So, they've got more chance of doing something in that bed that they're in now than they had staying in their little pots and modules. So, we can but hope. And in terms of mulching and getting stuff on that bed, that's a really, really happy ending for me today. The compost. I wasn't expecting to be getting into the compost bin today, but actually I'm really glad I did, because it's so much better than I had produced this time last year. So all those extra little bits of effort that I've put in this year to get better compost are paying off. I've been chopping things up small. Like I said, I think while I was over the compost bin, making sure I've got a good ratio of greens to browns. I kind of go about half and half. So generally, if I'm cutting stuff back in the garden, I'm making green waste, like the little annual weeds, that sort of thing. I've got that stash of cardboard behind the compost bins that were the raggedy little bits left from last winter that the worms didn't have. So literally every time I put something in, rip up a bit of cardboard, that goes into, give it a fluff up. I think the fact that I've turned it, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. It's had 4 turns in 3 months. That's massively helped it too, because when I turn it, I can mix it a bit more, make sure there's a bit of air in there, because I want this to break down with aerobic activity. I don't want it to be anaerobic. Keep it moist, So yeah, I'm chuffed with that slug of compost today. And what's really made me happy is in the bin I've got, looking at how much I've used today to do about half of that purple sprouting broccoli bed, I've got I would say twice, if not 3 times as much of that left in the bin. So that means when I take out my white onions, I just poked the ground, it's rock hard. But when I take my white onions out and try and plant some more, sorry little brassicas, I can put all that compost bin content onto there as well. And one of the reasons I'm doing that, just to say very quickly, because I realise I've gone on one a bit today, the big problem we have on this site, and everybody has it, it's not just me, it's not because I'm doing something wrong, negative Nellies, is that any soil which is exposed in the summer, it bakes to concrete. In the winter, because we do get rain in the winter, oh goodness knows, last winter, November to February, non-stop rain, the pelting rain, it really compacts our soil. So any beds that are fallow over the winter, you know by now, I cover them with whatever I can in terms of compost, leaf litter, what have you, cardboard over the top. That creates a nice environment for the worms to work under, but it also stops the rain pelting the soil. But of course there are a few beds which remain active in the winter, brassicas, carrots, not this year, parsnips, etc. So with those beds, because they're still open to all those elements, I do try to get mulch in there. I did last year, but I think what I needed to have done last year is get another load of mulch on sometime in sort of December, January, because it did drop down, the worms did take it, so by this spring it was concrete again. Anyway, I'm a little bit more confident about having these beds ready for the winter, having some good compost mulch to put on them to protect them, and also obviously ultimately to feed the soil. Scorchio. I had a great long list planned for today. I was going to do it in 2 sessions. Well, I was actually thinking about 3 sessions, and therefore also probably 3 little videos to bring. I was going to have my morning session, quick break about 12, early afternoon session, break at 3 for lunch, late afternoon session, home. It is now, it's already 1 o'clock. I pooped myself a bit. I don't mean I pooped my pants, I mean I pooped myself, exhausted myself. I'm going to sit quietly in the shade now. I'm going to have my lunch early, refuel a bit, have some water, see if I can cool down enough in the next 15-20 minutes to carry on and do my next session, leaf raking, tomatoes, all sorts of bits and pieces. But if I can't get cool, I may call it a day today, which is a shame because I've kind of penciled in the whole of this day for the garden. Maybe I can do some really quiet tinker jobs, but honestly it's just getting too hot out there. Anyway, you don't need to listen to the machinations of my thought processes, do you? Shut up, Vivi. Right, on that hot, sticky note, I'm going to bid you all cheerio for today. I'll see you again soon. I don't know what for, but I will see you again soon. Hopefully on a slightly cooler day and we can rattle through the work a bit more quickly and have a few more fun jobs to do. Oh, but also the blueberry is now in its little pot, isn't it? So that's good too. You see, there's lots of good things today. What I'll do, obviously the next time I come, I might come back tomorrow if it's cool enough, is bring the other half or third of that bag of ericaceous, top up that blueberry and then give it another really good soak, because the compost in the bag was really quite dry too. I'm waffling again. Time to go. Please look after yourselves. If it gets hot and sticky like this, maybe think twice about gardening or shift it to the morning. Do something else instead. But if it's pleasant in your garden, get out there, plant something, grow your own food. Yay! All right, my lovelies, I'll see you again really soon. Bye for now.